Yep.
All right, we want to welcome every day to Mom and Dad Talks, where our favorite people are mom and dad. And of course, I have my mom and dad, my Hante and my dad today. Mom will get with us at some point. And Uncle Dave, wherever Uncle Dave is. Uncle Dave, we love you. Ooh, nice. So today's topic is going to be, hey, how you doing, Uncle Dave? Everybody, that's my Uncle Dave. Love him to death.
It's
Love
going
him
to
to death,
echo.
everybody. So there's something that happens to everybody in life, and everybody has to face it at one point or another, and that is failing. How do you handle when something doesn't work or doesn't turn out to expectations? I can say for myself, when something didn't work out for me, one of my mentors told me, Ty, get into a routine of exercising and changing your mindset. And ever since then, get a new routine, exercise, do the same thing over, get some type of consistency going with you, and something that you can control, and that helps get those endorphins going and helps you just really move on to the next level. So what do you all do? Who wants to answer first? Hello, we got crickets. You guys have never failed in your life.
Okay. With me, what I have to do is I have to analyze why I failed
Mm,
and what I did to fail,
mm,
and then I have to pray about it.
mm. Good.
And usually,
Mm-hmm.
usually when I fail at something, after prayer, I get an answer as to what to do to correct my failure.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice,
Mm-hmm.
nice. Hanty, what do you do?
Well, that's kind of hard because I usually, my first step
Mm-hmm.
is to internalize it.
Mm.
I just keep it inside,
Mm-hmm.
and then I find myself talking to myself out, not necessarily out loud, but
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, kind of going over, now what just happened?
Mm.
How did it happen?
Mm-hmm.
Why did it happen?
Mm.
And I don't really talk to anyone about it because usually you don't have to have somebody say you failed.
You don't need any more
It just
cheerleaders.
didn't. It just didn't turn out, and
Right.
it's not a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the example that I would use
Mm-hmm.
that everyone would understand is I sew.
Yep.
And
Very
in
well.
sewing, you could have something could have gone wrong with the sewing machine. You could have been not connected to what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be mentally connected to that, and that means something physical. You gotta be mentally connected to what you're doing.
Mm.
So there could be a breakdown there. I guess personally, I just kind of sit back and let that failure just smooth over until I can reduce it to something that I can handle emotionally. And then I can move on. A lot of times I'll say, I'm not going to let this get me down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say that out loud. I'm going to finish this. Even if it's 2:00 in the morning, I'm going to finish this.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the biggest thing is not going to let it get me down. Because everybody has it.
Yeah, and I think in my life, I love it, because you learn from your mistakes. Because see, if you haven't failed, you haven't learned. You're going to mess up at some point in your life. I know I have. And the thing about it is I learn from it, or I learn from what other people have also done, and said, how can I make it, and how can I do it better to keep that from happening? And as a result of it, man, the prayer. I mean, this is excellent advice, by the way. Whoever's listening today, and you feel yourself failing, and you want to know how, this is some great advice. And there's just different ways of coping and getting through it and getting better from it. The worst thing you can do for failure is never learn from it. Insanity.
Yes.
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. Those are the worst mistakes you can do. It's the repeat offenders, right? And so, and we'll talk about that another time. But I think this is a great subject because, like I said, this holiday season, some people feel like they failed in their marriage or failed with their kids or failed on their job and stuff and get laid off and everything. You know what? Were you trying hard? One of the things I've learned is that, if you don't try and give everything you have, grow. Even if it doesn't work out, you're going to grow because you're going to learn something about yourself. You're like, I'll never do that again. Or, you know what, when I see that, I'm going to get away from that. And for me, when I start seeing stuff that's just like, oh, I've seen that bad movie before, I can avoid a lot of mistakes because you learn from those mistakes and say, you know what, it's time to move on or time to do something different because this is not working. So, actually, this is a good one here today. So anyone have any other thoughts before we close today about how do you learn from your failure, about failing? How do you handle it?
And the thing is, don't be afraid to fail. Look at failure as just another opportunity to do something right.
Yeah.
And so many people are afraid of failure. And because of that, they don't progress. They let the failure defeat them and they never try again.
Right.
So when you fail, don't be afraid of that failure.
Yeah.
Just look at it. This is just, now you've just learned another way of not doing something.
Great. Hante,
go ahead. Another opportunity to do something right.
Great one, Dad. Hante.
I agree totally on those last two statements because it's human to have a failure. But I used to work at a insurance company in Elkhart, and they taught me that to make a mistake is very good. And how you correct it is better than making the mistake itself.
Yes.
How you correct it.
I mean, wow, those are some gems right there and some dimes because, I think too many people don't even try anymore. Well, they just totally avoid it. One person today is not with us, which she's here, but she's not here on here is my mom. She never fails. That's a pun. but the point I'm saying, some people just avoid it. I don't never fail. I'm just not going to do it, right? But the whole point is that the growth, right? Because you got to face your fears. You got to face something, right? My dad's like, I don't like working with my hands. However, I fixed my own toilets. Didn't have to call a plumber in, and it's not leaking, folks. And
amen.
Amen. The whole thing about it is you learn how to learn. You learn how to get better. You learn how to grow. You know how to figure things out. And I think that's a skill set as you get older you need to have because if you never try anything, people take advantage of you. That's what ends up happening, right? So if you know what not to do, when someone's going to do it right, okay, they're doing it right because I can see. And then you can learn from them. So there's a lot of ways you can learn from failure. And it's something that I hope people take today. If you feel like a failure or you think you're a failure or you're failing, take these tips. These are great tips here. So any other closing thoughts before we close today, everybody? We're all good? Okay, everybody. Well, I hope you had a great day on Mom and Dad Talks. This is a great discussion today, and I hope you learned something. Love y'all. Till next time.